Hey, good evening. My name is Ross Nova, and let's just talk. Let's just talk, shall we? So, I have this friend who I've known since second grade. So, we go quite a ways back. And for a long time, we didn't identify ourselves as Republican or Democrat. We're just kids playing around. We didn't care about the world. And it was great. It wasn't until we both moved to Minnesota is when we started to identify ourselves more. And I find out that I'm more a Republican and he's more Democrat, which it is what it is. You know, we're still friends. We still hang out and whatnot. But one thing that always kind of bothered me was he was all about, pay your fair share, and that he doesn't mind paying a little bit more taxes if it means helping more programs. And I was actually the opposite. Like, I don't want to pay more than I have to because I want to build generational wealth. I want to pass something, some kind of legacy to my future kids if I should ever have kids. And that's what I strongly believe. I believe in, paying taxes to cover infrastructure, cover healthcare, cover programs, that are actually meaningful, that actually help people and not just throw money away like fraud. um, but I've never personally believed government was very good at managing money. And so it never made sense why we want to put the government in charge of managing our hard-earned money when businesses do a pretty good job of managing their own money, and they usually donate a lot or help a lot of groups or charities usually. So it never made sense to me why we're relying on government or why we trust the government to take care of everything, which is mind-boggling. But one day during COVID, it was a very, very difficult time for a lot of people. I was very fortunate myself that I was a trucker at that time. In fact, I just started trucking. I got my license, and then because something in the back of my mind just told me, you need to get in trucking. You need to get a trucking. I've kind of watched a lot of news, and I kind of felt like something's going wrong with the economy. So well, let's put myself in a good position. So I got my Class A license. I got a job with trucking. And then 2 weeks later, after I started working, is when the economy shut down. And trucking was considered essential. And so I continued trucking full time during COVID time. And so I was very, very fortunate to have kept my job. That being said, my friend wasn't so fortunate because he worked at the gym, and gyms pretty much shut down pretty quick. And so he was struggling, and I've noticed he was struggling, and he came over and was like, man, I'm struggling. Like, what do I do, right? And I said, well, I have a few ideas. I can teach you how to fish, and you can fish for yourself, right? I have some few business ideas, side hustle businesses that you can do to kind of get through this tough time. My ex at that time told me you shouldn't. I was like, well, if my friend needs help, I will give him all the keys that he needs to be successful to get him through the difficult time. And she says, okay. So I told him how to fish. Taught him how to fish. And with that knowledge, and notice, I did not just give him fish. I taught him how to fish. And with that knowledge, he went out and he went fishing. And he was successful. He made $7,000 in 3 months, which to me was very, very good for a first time fishing, right? And he was able to catch up with all his bills. He was able to pay rent. He was put food on the table, pay for the utilities, and so forth, right? Live a fairly normal, decent life until he got his job back again. And as a jokingly way, asked them, "Hey, I know you're about pay your fair share. Report that as an income to the government, so you can pay your taxes, pay your fair share." And his response was, "Hell no." Fairness and responsibility has to have some kind of balance. We should always take care of our family first. That's what I believe. Take care of your family first. Second, take care of your neighbors and your friends, right? Once those are taken care of, you've helped them out, then you should take care of your community. Once your community is taken care of, then you should worry about the state and then the US. That's what I've always believed in, no matter what. Always take care of family, friends and neighbors, then community and so forth. And I think too many people are jumping from family to the state immediately, right? Instead of, hey, what can we do to help the community, our neighbors, right? Since I'm running for governor, I believe in lowering taxes because I want to help you to take care of yourself first. Because if you can't take care of yourself, then how can you take care of your family? How can you take care of your friends and, your neighbors, right? You should always come first, you and your family, no matter what. That's why I believe in lowering taxes, so that way you can rebuild your savings account to where you feel safe, where you're not checking your account every time you go to the store to see if you have enough money. Just a few days ago, I saw this woman who was looking at her phone because her card declined, and she was transferring money from one account to the other account and then swipe the card again just to just so she can purchase food. This is it was like $80 worth of food, right? For her family. She shouldn't have to be looking at her account. She shouldn't have to be transferring funds from one account to the other. I've been there. I've done that before, so many times before. And it is not pleasant to wonder if that card is going to go through or if you have insufficient funds. That's a bit embarrassing, honestly. And I know what it's like when that happens. And so that's why I believe in lowering taxes to help people rebuild their savings account. So they're not looking at their account every time they go shopping or looking at it every few days to see if the money is still there. Because it can be kind of scary wondering one day you got $500 and next day you only have, $75. Like, where did that money go, right? It should not be like that. So that's why I believe lowering taxes to bring real relief to families. But still, we have to cover programs. So I'm not asking drastic reductions. I'm asking reductions just enough to bring relief, but at the same time, cover programs that are meaningful. We cannot help every program. We cannot fund every program imaginable under the sun. We cannot. It's impossible. Not unless we want to tax everybody at 50%. That means half the year you're working for the government. 6 months you're working for the government. You're already working 3 months for the government. Do you want to add more months to work towards the government? Why even work at that point? Why? If half your check is gone every week or every 2 weeks, is it even worth showing up to work at that point? I get we want to be nice. I understand, I've helped a lot of people. I've given money out. I've tried to help my neighbors all the time to the point where I became broke and homeless, to the point where I realized I have to be selfish. I have to put myself first before I put others before me. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not asking to lower taxes completely and get rid of all the programs and all that stuff. What I'm talking about is finding that fine balance where we can help by having each citizen save more money when it comes to taxes, but at the same time, fund programs that are meaningful to us, right? That's what I care about, making sure everybody has a place to stay, a warm place. I'll fund programs that give people a roof over their heads. I'll fund programs that allows people to afford food if they're not able to, right? But we cannot afford every other program. It's ridiculous. Medicaid, yes, I'll help. If a parent has a child that needs medicine and stuff, I'm more than happy to want to help cover the expense for medicine, because we want our kids to grow healthy. We want them to be successful. That's what I believe. I think we could find a fine balance between, having people save money, everyday citizens save money, put more money in their pockets, and fund some programs that are meaningful. Because there are too many programs out there that we just throw money at and we don't even know what they do, right? We should allow businesses, right, where they can have tax credit, like, hey, if you are helping certain types of people with your business, we'll give you tax credit, right? Let businesses help those people. We just give those businesses that help, relief. If you're in transportation business where you help handicapped people get to the appointments and back, and that's your business, we'll give you relief money. We'll give you tax relief. That way when you file taxes, you get huge tax breaks. Huge. Because you're doing service to public. So any business that does service to public should get huge tax relief. That's what I believe. Not have government fund all these programs and pay the entire part of the program. That's what I think should happen. I think we should trust businesses, private sectors, I think is the terminology people use, to help, with all these programs, and then we just give tax relief. So when they do their taxes, it's like, all right, you did public service, we're gonna lower your taxes, to say thank you for your service. That's what I believe. That's pretty much it for this video. Ross Nova, shooting forward, brighter, bolder, with fairness and responsibility, with balance for a better tomorrow. Thank you.